11 legendary perks remain to be tested. What do they do? How do they work? I'm about to show you everything. Let's do this. Hello everyone, welcome back to another Fallout 76 video. In this one, I am going to test and review more legendary perks. What a surprise. If you missed the first part with the other 15 perks, feel free to check it out to have a full understanding of all the new legendary perks. Well, I don't want to extend this intro since I already did one for the first part, featuring some of the most important rules and mechanics for the legendary perk system. So without any further delays, let's start. Retribution is a melee block that sounds very promising from its description. At first, I even thought it could replace the healing factor mutation, but does it live up to the expectations? Not really. So I tested this perk dozens of times and it always triggers. So at least that, it doesn't seem to be bugged in any way. However, the buff itself is rather weak. You need to block a melee attack for Retribution to trigger, and then you will receive a small HP recovery over time. At rank 1, which is what I used to test, it only regens 1 HP and 1 AP over 15 seconds. It's basically nothing. But at rank 4, it goes up to 4 HP and AP over the same 15 seconds. Well, this is definitely a perk to fight melee enemies, but it doesn't bring a lot of benefits, does it? Look at how my HP bar hardly moves. I know at rank 4 it will be better, but you will need to block a lot for it to become effective or even reliable. And let's be honest here, you can normally kill enemies very fast. It's not like you get to block dozens of times per fight, unless you force it. So I think this perk needs a buff or a rework, and it's not really worthy of any of your 6 legendary slots. There are far better new perks, and this one is on the weak side, but hey, it's totally up to you. Next, we have possibly the strongest legendary perk for melee builds. It's called Hack and Slash, and it has a chance to generate area damage with every VATS attack you do. It starts with a 20% chance and it can go up to 50%. As I said, it's really a good perk. While testing, I found myself exploding enemies quite often just with rank 1. So I do believe rank 4 will provide a lot of stable extra damage during your fights. Also, the explosions only seem to affect nearby enemies, not the target itself. Now, how much damage are we talking about here? Well, I'm not sure. As you can see in the footage, the area damage doesn't display in numbers. All I can say is that it's strong enough to do severe damage or even kill full HP enemies around the explosion. And yes, I'm talking about endgame enemies, such as level 75 ghouls and level 100 super mutants. I suspect these explosions get boosted with the Demolition's Expert perk, which I always use in my build. So that's probably why I am doing so much damage with the Hack and Slash perk. I am still impressed with how strong this legendary entry is. If you play melee, please do not turn a blind eye on this one, because you can kill enemies so much faster with it, both in terms of damage and speed. Collateral Damage is another fine perk for melee builds. Actually, it has a very good synergy with the previous perk Hack and Slash. How so? Well, this one can explode enemies killed with a melee hit, and the explosion creates area damage as well. The effect and the damage seem to be very similar to Hack and Slash, so it wouldn't surprise me if Bethesda created these explosions equal for all the new legendary perks with explosions or area damage. Anyway, your chance to create an explosion with this perk is from 10 to 20%, so it's not as much as Hack and Slash. It surely triggers less and it has less utility too, because you need to kill a target to get a chance to trigger an explosion, so it is not that strong. Alone, this perk is quite mediocre actually, but if you combine it with the previous perk, it can definitely work and empower your melee build. Now, moving to Unarmed, the Exploding Palm works in similar ways as the Hack and Slash perk, except now you just need to perform hits while unarmed and not in VATS. Every time you hit with an unarmed weapon, you have a chance to trigger an explosion, which is again area damage. However, for some reason, these explosions seem to do a little less damage than the previous two perks. I tested mostly on the forest region because my unarmed weapons are terrible and the enemies weren't going down with the explosions, as you can see. Maybe the damage is also dependent on your weapon's damage, I'm not sure. Anyway, the chances to trigger this perk are very low. I even had issues to test it because it never triggered. That 5% chance, huh? But it can go up to 20% at rank 4, it becomes a little bit better. Still, in my opinion, this perk is only viable if you play unarmed and unarmed alone. It's true, the perk is not very strong, but it can surely benefit your unarmed build. We have yet more explosion perks to test. The next one is the Far-Flung Fireworks, and it allows you to trigger explosions when you kill enemies with ranged attacks. It works just like Collateral Damage, but for ranged. Even the explosion damage seems to be similar as well, with lots of damage and the ability to take down most high-level enemies in just one blow. The chances to trigger this perk are also the same, from 10 to 20%. It's like a copy-paste of Collateral Damage, and they changed melee to ranged, basically. Anyhow, this perk can be decent, but the problem is that most of the time ranged enemies are not in a clutch together, they are sparse. So even if you trigger the explosions, you will probably not benefit from them that often. This is a situational perk in my view. It works really well in closed areas with a lot of enemies like daily ops, but if you move to the open world, I don't see it being useful that much. So I guess it all comes up to what you do the most in game. I think this is a strong perk, but since we are limited to 6 perks at a time, I'm not sure this should be part of your top 6, unless you basically only do events and activities where lots of mobs spawn, then make sure to go for it. The last explosion perk applies to thrown explosives. Yeah, this one is a little bit like blood sacrifice. You just don't know why is it there. My best guess is that Bethesda wanted to make things fair for everyone and added an explosion perk for every weapon type in the game, which includes explosives. But what I don't understand is why is it only for thrown items? I mean, if this perk was for explosive weapons in general, it would be one of the best perks. However, the way it is now, it's... yeah. I mean, first, it's not so easy to land grenades in the middle of several enemies since they are always moving. And secondly, there are hardly any builds based only and exclusively on thrown explosives. So the utility of this perk is very low in my view. The good part is that you get a 20 to 50% chance to trigger an explosion whenever you kill an enemy with thrown explosives. If we had more legendary slots, this could become an extra help, but as a main perk, it doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Moving forward to power armor perks, the Power Sprinter is a very straightforward perk based on utility. You use less stamina while sprinting inside power armor, and that's a very useful benefit. I did some tests running from one tree to the other with and without the perk, and as you can see, the difference is quite noticeable, and this is only with the rank 1 perk. You can decrease the AP usage from 20% to 50% at rank 4, which is a huge difference. So for all of you power armor users out there, make sure to grab and rank up this perk because it's definitely a high utility one. At least you can run longer using the same stamina pool. Isn't that great? I think it is. Electric absorption allows you to charge up your fusion cores while taking energy damage. Of course, it's not a 100% thing. Your chances vary from 10 to 20% at max rank. Let me warn you though, there is no perk notification or effect entry for this perk. At first, I even thought it was not working, but it works just perfectly. Take a closer look at the fusion core counter and you will see what I mean. In fact, this perk triggers all the time while fighting robots with energy attacks because their attack speed is really fast, so there's a lot of hits going on you. I was trying to deplete my fusion core by jumping and flying around, but the perk was recharging my fusion core faster than I could deplete it. It's definitely a great perk, but very situational. Most enemies do not have energy attacks, as you should know, but still there's plenty of them out there. I think it's worth getting if you usually run out of fusion cores. It's one way to decrease your farming. The last power armor perk is quite interesting. It allows you to get auto revive to full HP if you die inside of power armor. Now, there's a few tricky things about this perk. First of all, it won't revive you, it just prevents you from going down when you take lethal damage, so the description is not accurate at all. Secondly, this perk is bugged, it doesn't always work as intended. For example, here, when this Marlu Queen hit me, the power armor reboot perk triggered, but I still went down all the same, when it should have prevented that. You can clearly see the HP went up and down, but regardless, I went down and stayed down. The chances for a self-revive is from 15 to 40%, but I can tell you the 15% is, well, I died over 20 times to get it to trigger twice, so it will hardly work at rank 1. This perk is only worth getting if you intend to max it out, but even then, it might not always work since there are bugs already discovered. It's probably a better idea to go for something else until the perk gets fixed, at least. Okay, now we have the new defense perks. Funky Dudes will allow you to have some steady poison defense, which can help you survive some of the most dangerous creatures in the wasteland, such as crickets. I hate crickets. Anyway, you can enjoy a poison damage defense of 50 to 200 with this legendary perk, and that sounds promising. I conducted a few tests with and without a rank 1 perk on, and the difference is a lot. With the perk on, poison damage from floaters, for example, doesn't hurt me that much, at least compared with no poison defense at all. Now, that kinda hurts, huh? You can clearly see how my HP goes down much faster without the perk on. I also tested this on snaily gasters, and with the perk on, I hardly take any damage. I can just stand still for a while, chill out, but without the perk on, that's a different story. I almost died in just 2 hits. I had to run away and heal myself up. So I can imagine poison damage is going to tickle you if you decide to max this perk to 200 poison defense. It's a great addition to the game, that's for sure, and it's a very powerful perk as well. But again, it's very situational. It's not like you are always fighting poison damage enemies, right? Anyway, if you have a defense or HP build, this perk is really going to make you stronger and more resilient. The last legendary perk to get tested is the Sizzling Style, which works the same exact way as the last perk, but instead of poison defense, it gives you fire defense, from 50 to 200 defense at rank 4. That's pretty good. Don't forget, both perks only enable the buff if you are wearing a full set of any armor type. Now, I started by testing environmental fire damage, and the difference was not so much, surprisingly. With the perk on, my HP was going down very slowly, but without the perk, my HP didn't go down that much faster. Now, things change when you test enemy fire damage. I went for a fire floater, and as you can see, I hardly take any damage. I can thank him without any problem. It's like he's tickling me actually. But when I removed the perk, this floater was like a Terminator. He was killing me really fast. I could hardly overheal his damage, as you can see. What a difference from just 50 fire defense, huh? Anyway, this perk is really useful, especially in daily ops, where you often fight enemies with fire damage, such as robots and blood eagles. Yes, it's also a situational perk like Funky Dudes, and you must choose. There's only space for 6 legendary perks, so make sure to choose well. Alright, all the legendary perks have been tested and presented to you in a detailed manner. I hope I was able to help you decide which new perks are the most suitable for your playstyle and your build too. I am working on more videos, one with lots of facts about how the legendary perk system works, and another one with the best legendary perks, as in the ones with the most value. Now, that's everything for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I am Marta Branco. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to help me grow. And well, you can always support me even further if you want by checking the links below the video. That's it for now. I will see you all very soon in the next one. Until then, take care. Adios. Bye bye.